I was thinking about how every single house has its own set of rules, but the most powerful rules are usually the ones that are just never written down.
Right, yeah, like the silent ones.
Exactly. The ones that tell you to look the other way. And it's like, I've realized that growing up with a family secret, well, it's a lot like being forced to perform in a play every single day.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah.
you have your lines, you know exactly where to stand, and you know precisely which doors on the set you are absolutely never allowed to open.
Right, because if you open them,
Everything falls apart.
and, I think the hardest part of that is that you're just terrified of what happens if you miss a line or if the audience, like the neighbors or the people at church, finds out the set is actually just falling apart behind the scenes.
Yeah, the illusion.
We spend our entire lives protecting a secret that isn't even ours. And it ends up teaching us this really toxic lesson that being honest is actually dangerous.
It's so backwards.
It is. And, recovery is really about finally stepping off that stage and realizing that God loves us even when the curtains are wide open and the truth is completely out there.
Yeah, that is, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. You sit in that tension every single day. You wake up, the curtain rises, and you just start performing.
And it takes so much out of you.
It's incredibly draining. And, we're sitting here today at the Crosstalk Cafe grabbing some coffee and looking around at all the people who have walked this exact same road.
Yeah, it's definitely not just us.
Right. It makes you realize just how universal this specific kind of performance really is. So to everyone listening, we are walking right alongside you in this.
Absolutely. We are peers in this journey.
We are. But we really need to look directly at that heavy tension. The tension that exists in a house where something is just clearly off, where the air is thick with things left unsaid, yet every single person living under that roof is bound by that one silent, overriding rule. We don't talk about that.
It is a profound tension. I mean, you wake up every morning in an environment where the most defining feature of your shared life is the very thing you are literally forbidden to acknowledge.
It's crazy when you think about it.
Think about how strange that is. The biggest reality in your world is treated like a ghost.
Right.
Today, we really want to look at how a hidden truth acts as a gravity well in a home. In physics, a gravity well pulls everything nearby into its orbit.
Yeah, it just sucks it all in.
And the heavier the object, the stronger the pull. So in a home, a hidden truth is the heaviest thing in the room. It pulls every single family member into an orbit of denial and silence.
It really does.
And our goal for our conversation today is to move beyond just looking at our individual coping mechanisms. We have to look at the whole family system.
Right, because you can't just fix one part without seeing the whole picture. And to even begin that process, we have to start by laying a foundational question on the table.
It's a big one.
It's a heavy question, yeah. And we want you to just sit with it for a moment. So here it is. In your family of origin, what was the family secret that everyone was trying to protect?
Oof. That question alone can just stop you right in your tracks.
Yeah?
For some of you listening right now, that answer surfaced immediately. I mean, you know exactly what it was.
Oh, for sure.
It was the drinking, or, it was the bankruptcy, it was the infidelity, or the physical violence. You know exactly what the secret was.
But for others, it's not that obvious, right?
Exactly. For others, it might be a little more subtle. It might take a minute to identify because the secret was so woven into the fabric of your daily life that it just felt like normal air.
It was just Tuesday.
Right. It was the quiet, simmering rage that dictated everyone's mood. It was the eating disorder that was just, praised as discipline.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or it was the profound emotional neglect that was masked by material wealth. You had all this stuff, but no one was actually there.
And that subtlety is what makes it so incredibly insidious. Because, we're talking about the profound mental health impact of living in a home where reality is actively denied.
Yeah, denied on a daily basis.
We're talking about that massive, invisible elephant in the room that dictates everyone's movements. You have this huge presence taking up all the space, knocking over the furniture, making it impossible to breathe. But if you, as a child, point to it, the adults in the room look right at you and say, there is nothing there.
Right. And the elephant analogy is just incredibly accurate because a secret of that magnitude requires constant accommodation from everyone in the house.
Constantly moving around it.
You can't just walk in a straight line through your own living room. You have to walk around the elephant. You have to change your posture, your path, your plans, all based on this massive thing that no one will name.
And we really need to look at what happens to a child's mind and heart in that environment.
Let's sit with that child's experience for a moment, because I think we really underestimate how observant kids actually are.
Oh, they see everything.
They do. A child clearly sees a problem. They are incredibly perceptive. They see the unchecked anger.
Yeah.
They feel the temperature drop in the room when a certain parent walks in. They hear the slurred words, or they notice the sudden, erratic spending, or they feel the sting of unpredictable rage.
Your little bodies just know it.
Their senses are taking in factual data about their environment. But when they try to make sense of it, when they bring it to the other adults, they're told that it simply isn't happening.
Yes. They're told they have an overactive imagination.
Right.
Or they're told they're being disrespectful for even bringing it up. How dare you say that about your father or whatever.
Exactly.
Or even worse, they're told that what they are perceiving as abuse or chaos is actually a sign of love or just a completely normal family dynamic.
That's the scariest part.
The parent says, your father is just tired, or your mother just has a lot on her plate right now.
Yeah.
When the reality is that the father is deeply intoxicated or the mother is in a state of violent dysregulation.
Which brings us to the core mechanism of the damage. It is one thing to experience hardship or trauma,
Right.
but it is an entirely different level of devastation to experience it and then be told your experience is a complete fabrication.
It messes with your whole reality.
When a child is in that environment, they start internalizing the lie. They are taught to fundamentally doubt their own senses and intuition.
Mm-hmm.
If what you see with your own two eyes is called a lie by the very people you depend on for your actual survival, you stop trusting your own perception of the world.
You learn that your internal compass is just broken.
Completely broken.
And that is a terrifying, disorienting way to grow up. If you cannot trust your own eyes and ears, how can you trust your judgment about anything?
You can't.
How can you trust your judgment about who is safe, who is kind, or what is true? You lose the entire foundation of your own reality.
You really do.
But let me push back on that just a little bit, or at least play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Because I can totally hear a parent listening to this right now and thinking, wait a minute. I don't want my 8-year-old knowing about our impending foreclosure or about my spouse's affair. That would crush them.
Yeah.
I am keeping a secret to protect them.
Right. That makes sense.
So how do we draw the line between a family desiring normal, healthy privacy, or even like protective containment, versus a toxic environment that actively distorts a child's grip on reality? Because not everything needs to be broadcasted to the kids, right?
No, of course not. And that is an excellent pushback. It's a crucial distinction we really have to make here. The difference between healthy privacy and toxic secrecy really lies in the motivation, the impact, and the handling of reality.
Okay, break that down for me.
So healthy privacy is driven by a desire to protect intimacy and boundaries. It is about creating a safe, secure space for the family to grow. Privacy protects dignity.
Right.
Secrecy, on the other hand, is driven by fear, shame, and the desperate need to protect an illusion.
Okay, so give me an example of what that looks like in practice, because I think people need to hear the difference. How does a parent protect a child without distorting their reality?
Let's use the financial crisis example you just mentioned. A family is facing foreclosure. The tension in the house is just palpable.
You can cut it with a knife.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
parents are whispering in the kitchen, the stress is high, and the kids absolutely feel it. So a child comes in and says, "Why is everyone so angry? Are we losing the house?"
They just ask it straight out.
Because they sense it. Now, in a toxic environment governed by secrecy, the parent snaps. They say, "Everything is perfectly fine. Stop making things up. Don't you dare talk about this to the neighbors. You are ruining our evening."
Oh, man.
The child is told their perception of the tension is completely false.
Which leaves the child feeling crazy because they know the tension is real. They feel it in their chest.
Exactly. Now, let's look at healthy privacy and containment. In that exact same scenario, the parent says, "You are right. Things are very stressful right now. Mom and dad are dealing with some difficult money problems."
Wow. Just owning it.
Owning the reality. And then they say, "But we are the adults and we are working on fixing it. It is not your fault and you don't need to worry about it. We are a family and we will get through it, but it's a private matter for our family right now."
That is a stark contrast. I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is validated. The child's perception is confirmed.
Yes. The parent confirms a reality. You are correctly sensing stress, but provides a boundary to protect the child from the adult details. That is privacy.
Right. It's safe.
The toxic environment, the secretive one, forces the child to choose between their own sanity and their membership in the family. It demands that we distort reality, whereas privacy simply asks us to keep a true reality within a trusted circle.
That is such a good way to put it.
One protects the child's grip on reality, the other actively shatters it.
And a child will always choose the family. They have to. They are entirely dependent on the family system for food, shelter, and survival. So the child makes this tragic trade. They trade their internal trust, their connection to their own reality, in exchange for staying connected to the family system.
It's a survival tactic.
They learn to override their own internal alarm bells. They feel the danger, their body tells them something is incredibly wrong, but they force themselves to ignore those signals because the family system demands compliance with the illusion.
And over time, this creates a profound disconnect within the person. You become entirely alienated from your own feelings and your own intuition.
Yeah, you don't even know what you feel anymore.
You walk into adulthood second-guessing every single instinct you have. You are always looking to others to validate your reality because you were taught very early on that your version of reality is inherently flawed.
It's so exhausting to live like that.
It really is. You find yourself asking your friends, was that person rude to me or am I just being too sensitive? Or you ask your spouse, is it okay that I'm upset about this?
Like you need permission to feel.
Exactly. You literally need a surrogate mind to tell you what is real, because the family secret severed your connection to your own perception.
And this links directly to the behavioral shift we see so often in recovery. Because the child doesn't just passively sit there and accept the illusion. They begin to actively participate in it.
Yes, they step into a role.
They realize that in order to survive in this house, they have to become a co-conspirator in the lie. We are basically drafted into becoming protectors of the secret.
The drafting process is incredibly powerful. The family system operates like a delicate mobile hanging over a baby's crib.
Okay, I like that image.
Right, so if one piece is heavy and pulling the whole thing down, say a parent's act of addiction, the other pieces have to swing wildly to the other side to keep the mobile from completely capsizing.
You have to balance it out.
Exactly, so the family members take on roles. We become the counterweights to the secret.
So what do those roles actually look like for the people listening who might be, realizing they played one of them?
Well, they take on many forms. You have the hero, usually the oldest child, who becomes the overachiever, the perfectionist.
The one getting straight A's.
Exactly. Their unconscious job is to prove to the outside world that the family is doing great. Because if the child is getting straight A's and starring in the school play, nobody will suspect that the home life is actually in ruins.
Wow. Yeah, they're the shiny distraction.
Then you have the scapegoat, the child who constantly acts out and gets in trouble. Their job is to draw the fire. They become the distraction.
So the parents can focus on them instead of the real issue.
Exactly. The family can say, if only Jimmy wasn't such a problem child, we would be perfectly happy, which completely diverts attention away from the real secret.
That is fascinating. The scapegoat is essentially taking the blame for the system's dysfunction.
Yes, they absorb it all. Then there is the lost child, who realizes the best way to survive is to simply disappear.
Just blend into the wallpaper.
Right. They stay in their room, they are quiet, they make no demands, ensuring they do not add a single ounce of stress to an already volatile system.
Because asking for anything feels like it would break the family.
It does. And finally, you have the mascot, the one who uses humor and deflection to break the tension right before it explodes. They are the court jester trying to keep the king from executing anyone.
Making jokes to keep everyone calm.
We adopt these personas, these characters in the stage play, to divert attention away from the real problem. We learn very early that our primary job in life is not to grow, learn, and discover who we are.
Which is what a childhood should be.
Right. But instead, our primary job is to manage the unmanageable reality of our home.
We become little PR agents for a failing corporation.
That's exactly what it is.
We are desperately trying to spin the narrative so the outside world doesn't see the bankruptcy. And the insidious lesson we learn in these family systems is that the family's image, the outward appearance, is treated as vastly more important than the family's actual health and well-being.
The priority is never, are we okay?
Right. The priority is always, do we look okay?
Do we look okay becomes the driving force behind every single family decision. What will the neighbors think? What will the people at church think?
It makes me think of a very specific image. Maintaining this secret is exactly like sweeping shattered glass under a beautiful, expensive rug.
Oh, that's a powerful image.
Because to any guest walking into the house, the floor looks perfectly clean. The rug is beautiful, everything is in its place, and the visitors look around and think, wow, you have a wonderful put-together home.
But the reality for the people living there is entirely different.
Entirely different, because the family members spend every single day tiptoeing. We know exactly where the hidden shards are.
You've mapped out the whole floor in your head.
Yes. We're constantly adjusting our steps, walking in strange, unnatural patterns across the living room to avoid the pain. And the truly heartbreaking part is when you inevitably step on a piece of that shattered glass through the rug.
Because you can't dodge it forever.
Right. Because no matter how careful you are, eventually, you're going to put your foot down in the wrong spot. You feel the sharp pain, you are bleeding, but you have been meticulously trained that you cannot cry out.
Because crying out draws attention to the floor.
Right. If you scream, the guests will ask why you are hurt. They will rush over, they will pull back the rug to see what cut you, and the secret will be exposed.
You can't let them lift the rug.
No. So you learn to swallow the pain. You learn to smile while you're bleeding. You look at the guest with glass cutting into your foot, and you say, I'm perfectly fine. Would you like some more tea?
Wow.
You learn that protecting the family's secret is far more important than attending to your own wounds.
That imagery captures the daily, grueling reality of the family system perfectly. The energy it takes to constantly adjust your steps, to always remember where the glass is staggering.
It takes everything you have.
And the consequence of this is profound. Protecting the family secret inadvertently trains us to hide our own pain. We learn that vulnerability is a massive liability.
You just can't risk it.
If you cannot speak the truth about what is happening in the living room, you certainly cannot speak the truth about what is happening in your own heart.
You learn to lock your own struggles, your own fears, and your own sadness in a vault. You become an absolute expert at presenting a polished exterior, while internally you are completely isolated.
So alone.
You are carrying this massive weight, but you cannot ask for help, because asking for help requires admitting that something is wrong.
And this carries right over into how we view ourselves and our worth.
Yes.
If the family's image is the most important thing, then my value as a person is only tied to how well I uphold that image.
Oh, that's heavy.
If I am the perfect student, the star athlete, the quiet child who never causes trouble, then I am useful to the system. I have value because I am helping to maintain the lie.
But if you mess up,
Right. The moment I have a need, the moment I struggle, I become a threat to the illusion, so we learn to erase our own needs entirely.
we become fiercely independent, but not out of strength. It looks like strength to the outside world, you know.
Yeah, they applaud it.
People say, wow, she is so resilient, he is so self-sufficient, but it is actually born out of a deep-seated fear that relying on anyone or asking for anything will bring the whole house of cards crashing down.
This is why so many of us walk into recovery feeling so incredibly depleted. Managing an illusion takes an incredible amount of continuous effort.
It never stops.
It is not a task you complete once and check off a list. It is a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute exertion. You are permanently holding up a heavy wall. And this leads to a permanent state of high alert.
You never get to just rest.
You are never truly relaxed. Your nervous system is constantly humming with the expectation of a crisis.
Which brings us to a reality that so many of us understand intimately. A reality that completely shapes how we move through the world. And that is the constant toll of hypervigilance.
The reading of the room.
Yes, the necessity of constantly reading the room.
Reading the room becomes a survival skill. When there is a secret, the atmosphere is never truly safe. You become an expert at scanning the horizon.
You just walk into a room and boom.
Exactly. Within a fraction of a second, you have taken a full inventory of the emotional weather. You are always scanning the environment to see if the secret is about to be exposed or if someone is getting too close to breaking the rules by mentioning it.
You are acting like a human radar dish,
Yeah.
picking up on frequencies that most people do not even know exist. And let's get really specific about what that scan actually looks like in practice, because it is so detailed.
It's incredibly granular.
It is monitoring the tone of footsteps on the stairs. I know so many people who can tell exactly what kind of evening they're going to have just by the way the front door opens.
Oh, absolutely.
Is it a gentle click or is it a hard slam? Is the footstep heavy and fast, indicating anger? Is it slow and stumbling, indicating intoxication?
It is tracking micro-expressions at the dinner table. A slight tightening of a parent's jaw, a shift in their gaze, a sudden pause in the conversation. Tiny things that mean everything. You learn to interpret these almost imperceptible signals as massive warnings. You are constantly anticipating the next explosion. You even learn to read the silence.
Oh, the silence is the loudest part.
It
You
is.
have to decipher it. Is it a peaceful, relaxed silence? Or is it the heavy, suffocating silence that precedes a massive storm? You become a master of emotional meteorology.
That's a great term for it.
You are trying to predict the weather so you can find shelter before the lightning strikes. I mean, I can remember so clearly the feeling of sitting in the backseat of a car as a kid, just listening to the breathing of the adults in the front seat.
Yes.
Just the rhythm of their breathing could tell me if we were going to have a calm drive or if the entire trip was going to descend into chaos. It is a devastating way to live, always bracing for impact.
It is entirely draining, and here's the tragedy of carrying this forward. When you grow up in a system that requires hypervigilance, you do not just leave that skill behind when you move out of the house.
Right, you take it with you everywhere.
It becomes your default setting for interacting with the entire world. Your internal alarm system has been recalibrated so that safe feels dangerous and dangerous feels normal.
This is where I want to press in, because this affects us today. How does this permanent state of reading the room sabotage our adult relationships right now?
Oh, it wreaks havoc.
How does it prevent us from just being present with the people who actually love us and are safe?
It sabotages us because we cannot trust peace. In our adult relationships, if our spouse is quiet, we do not assume they are just tired from a long day at work or simply thinking about a movie they just watched.
No, we assume the worst.
Our radar immediately tells us they are secretly furious with us. We start scrambling to figure out what we did wrong and how to fix it. We project the volatility of our past onto the stability of our present.
Always looking for the trap.
We are constantly searching for hidden meanings, hidden agendas, and hidden threats in completely innocent interactions.
I have done this so many times. Someone sends me a text message that just says, okay. No punctuation, no emoji, just okay.
Oh, the dreaded, okay.
And I will spend the next 3 hours spinning out, trying to decode the secret anger behind that text. Why didn't they use an exclamation point? Are they mad at me? Did I say something wrong yesterday?
And they were probably just at the grocery store.
Exactly. The truth is, they were just at a red light and typing quickly. But my system is primed to find the hidden threat.
And that makes genuine presence almost impossible. You cannot be truly present with someone if you are constantly scanning them for danger.
You're not even in the room with them.
You are not listening to what they're saying. You are listening to how they are saying it, trying to detect the trap. It is incredibly unfair to our spouses, our friends, and our children because we are reacting to ghosts.
We are fighting battles that aren't happening.
We are responding to the dynamics of the stage play we left years ago rather than the reality of the people sitting right in front of us.
It creates a massive barrier to intimacy. Because intimacy requires vulnerability. It requires putting down the radar dish, stepping off the stage, taking off the heavy costumes and saying, here I am, flaws and all.
And that feels so unnatural.
But if your entire survival strategy has been built on hiding your flaws and anticipating attacks, vulnerability feels like walking into a minefield without a map. So we keep our distance.
We manage the relationship instead of being in it.
We remain the caretakers, the fixers, the perfect partners, always managing the image of the relationship, but never allowing ourselves to be truly known within it.
We have nothing left to give to the relationship itself because the sheer mental effort it takes to maintain that vigilance leaves us completely depleted. The relationship becomes just another environment to manage.
Just another spinning plate.
And the heavy, draining toll of this continuous performance isn't just psychological. We have to understand that it has profound spiritual consequences.
We absolutely need to turn our attention there. We are not just psychological beings. We are spiritual beings created for connection with God.
Right.
And when we live a life governed by silence and hidden truths, we suffer deeply on a spiritual level. We look to the Word of God to understand this, specifically Psalm 32, verse 3.
A very powerful verse.
The verse says, when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. Now let's look closely at that phrase, wasting away, to understand the spiritual decay caused by carrying hidden shame.
That phrasing, wasting away, is incredibly vivid. It speaks to a slow, continuous erosion. It is not a sudden collapse.
It's day by day.
It is a gradual hollowing out of your spiritual vitality. When we keep silent, when we live a double life, one face for the world and another face for the reality of our hidden pain, it drains the life right out of us.
It just chips away at you.
A double life is inherently unstable. You are trying to serve two completely different masters, the truth of your experience and the lie of the family system. This internal division creates a profound friction in the soul. And over time, that friction wears you down to nothing.
Your faith becomes an outward performance rather than an inward reality. You learn to play the role of the good Christian.
You know all the lines.
You can say all the right words, you know when to stand up and when to sit down, you show up to the services, but inside you feel completely hollow. You feel like a shell of a person just going through the motions.
Which is such a lonely place to be.
And it creates a profound sense of isolation from both community and God. You feel fundamentally unknowable because the you that people see is just the character from the stage play.
Exactly. If the church embraces you, if your friends praise you for being so strong and faithful, you cannot actually receive that love.
Because it's not really for you.
Because a voice in your head is always whispering, they don't really know you. They love the character you're playing. If they saw the reality of your family, if they knew the secret you're carrying and the mess behind closed doors, they would walk away in disgust.
It's the imposter syndrome.
So even in a crowded room full of people who genuinely care about you, you remain entirely alone. You are carrying a secret that was never yours to bear, and it becomes an impenetrable wall between you and the rest of humanity.
And let's trace how that wall extends to our relationship with God. When we are bound by a family secret, we inevitably project the rules of our family system onto God.
Oh, we do this all the time.
If our family taught us that honesty brings punishment, that vulnerability is dangerous, and that outward perfection is the only way to be accepted, we assume God operates the exact same way. We become terrified to bring our authentic selves to Him.
We pray these polite, sanitized, highly edited prayers.
We hold back the messy stuff.
We hide our anger, our deep confusion, and our festering wounds from Him, thinking we have to clean up our mess and look presentable before we can approach the throne of grace. We act like God is the ultimate guest we are trying to hide the shattered glass from.
Oh, that's exactly what we do.
We smile through the pain and say, everything is fine, Lord. I am perfectly blessed.
But God doesn't operate in the realm of pretend. He doesn't honor the stage play. The longer the silence is maintained, the more power the secret holds over the individual's spiritual life. It creates a massive barrier to receiving grace.
Because you have to bring your real self.
Because grace is only given to our true selves. It is given to our broken selves. If we never present our true selves to God, we can never fully experience His grace. We remain trapped in a cycle of striving and pretending, completely cut off from the healing waters of His love.
That is the core tragedy of the family secret. It sits between us and the very thing that can set us free.
Yes, it blocks the way.
But there is hope. That is the entire reason we are having this conversation today at the Crosstalk Cafe. If silence is the mechanism of our wasting away, then vocalizing the truth is the mechanism of our healing.
Speaking it out loud.
We have to look at the solution. We have to find a way to step off the stage. And that brings us to the absolute necessity of naming the secret aloud. Acknowledging the truth is the only way to break its gravity well.
Naming the secret is the defining turning point in recovery. It is an act of profound, terrifying courage.
It's so scary.
It is standing up in the middle of the living room, pointing directly at the massive elephant and saying out loud, I see it. It is real. And it is destroying us.
And that changes everything.
When you speak the truth aloud, you fundamentally alter the dynamics of the family system. You are no longer playing by the unspoken rules. You are breaking the silence.
And let's explain why speaking the secret dismantles its authority over you. It moves the hidden thing from the darkness, where it appears insurmountable and terrifying, into the light, where it can be dealt with realistically.
Because things grow in the dark.
In the darkness, a secret grows. It mutates. It takes on monstrous proportions. It feels entirely unmanageable. But when you drag it into the light of truth, you see it for what it actually is.
It loses its power.
It is no longer a monster. It is just a tragedy. It is no longer a defining identity. It is just a difficult circumstance.
I want to really sit with that for a moment. Moving it into the light strips it of its power. And we have to be very clear about what we mean by the light.
Right. What does that actually mean for us?
In our journey, we trust that Jesus Christ is the light. We bring our hidden pain, our family's shattered glass, directly into His presence. But we need to emphasize something absolutely crucial here, because our family systems have trained us to fear the light.
We think the light is a bad thing.
We often fear the light because we think it will be a harsh, interrogating spotlight. We think the light exists to expose our secrets so we can be publicly humiliated and punished.
But his light doesn't merely expose the secret to humiliate us. His light heals the profound shame attached to it. His light is warm. It is welcoming.
It's safe.
It illuminates the wounds not to point a finger of blame, but to apply the balm of healing. The light of Christ is completely redemptive. When we bring the family secret to him, he does not look at us with disgust. He does not ask why we didn't do a better job of hiding it.
He looks at us with profound compassion. He sees the little child who had to sweep the glass under the rug.
He sees all of it.
He sees the years of hypervigilance, the sheer exhaustion of maintaining the stage play and the spiritual wasting away. And he offers rest. He says, you do not have to carry this anymore. It was never yours to carry in the first place.
This process of bringing the truth to the light fundamentally redefines honesty for us. In the toxic family system, we were taught that honesty was the most dangerous thing in the world.
That it would destroy us.
We were taught that telling the truth would destroy our family and ruin our lives. But recovery reteaches us that honesty, rather than being dangerous, is the exact location where we meet God's grace.
Honesty is the meeting place. It is where we finally intersect with reality, and God only operates in reality. He meets us right where we actually are, not where we are pretending to be.
Never in the pretend.
But taking that step, moving out of the shadows and into the light, well, it requires moving through a tremendous amount of fear. The conditioning of our childhood does not just disappear overnight. The fear is deeply ingrained.
Oh, it's baked into us.
So I want to ask you this, and I think this is where the rubber meets the road for a lot of people listening. When we finally step off that stage and let the curtain stay open, how do we handle the initial fear that people might walk out of the theater?
That is the ultimate fear.
Because that is the terror, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I stop playing the perfect part, if I admit that my family is broken, my friends will leave, my community will judge me, and I will be left entirely alone.
That fear is incredibly real, and frankly, it is entirely valid based on the rules of the system we grew up in.
It's what we were taught.
Based on the data you collected as a child, telling the truth results in abandonment or punishment. It is a completely understandable terror. But this is where we have to learn the profound difference between an audience and a community.
Well, that is good. Explain the difference.
Well, an audience comes to be entertained. They come to watch performance. They want the lights, the costumes, and the smooth delivery of the lines.
They want the shiny version.
If the performance stops, if the actor forgets their lines or the scenery falls down, the audience gets uncomfortable, they look at their watches, and they leave.
They check out.
They have no vested interest in the reality of the actor. They only care about the illusion. But a community is entirely different. True community stays in the seats.
True community stays in the seats. That's powerful.
When you step off the stage, drop the heavy script, look out and say, I am broken, my family is hurting, and I do not know how to fix it, the people who are just an audience will walk away. And honestly, we have to let them walk.
We don't need them.
They were never there for us anyway. They were there for the character we were playing. But the people who make up true community, the people you will find sitting in the circles of recovery, the people who have faced their own family secrets, they will not walk out.
They'll stay with you.
They will stand up, walk right onto the stage with you, look at the broken scenery, and say, me too, I see the mess, you are not alone. True community is built on shared brokenness, not shared perfection.
Me too. I really believe those are the two most powerful words in recovery. Hearing someone else validate your reality, hearing someone else say that they have walked the exact same tiptoe dance around the shattered glass, it breaks the isolation immediately.
It shatters the lie.
It proves that the lie of the family system, the lie that says you are the only one, and if anyone knew the truth, they would reject you, is completely false. Stepping off the stage allows you to finally be known.
And to be fully known and entirely loved exactly as you are, with all the mess and all the history, is the closest thing to heaven we can experience on this side of eternity. It is the restoration of our spiritual vitality. The wasting away stops, and the rebuilding begins.
And the rebuilding is such a beautiful, intentional process. It takes time, and it requires so much patience with yourself. You're learning an entirely new way of living.
Reprogramming everything.
You are learning to trust your own senses again. When you feel a room get tense, you learn to trust that perception instead of dismissing it. You are learning to set boundaries, deciding what you will and will not take responsibility for. You are handing the heavy weight of the family secret back to the people it actually belongs to.
You stop being the PR agent for the dysfunction. If someone asks why you are bleeding from the glass, you learn to look them in the eye and say, because there is glass under the rug.
Telling the truth.
You learn to let reality be reality
Oh, yeah.
without rushing in to manage everyone else's reaction to it. And as you do this, you reclaim all the energy that was previously bound up in maintaining the illusion.
That brings us to a really powerful place to wrap up our conversation today. We have walked through so much ground. We have looked at the massive weight of the elephant, the reality of the shattered glass, the sheer toll of constantly reading the room, and the spiritual wasting away that happens when we carry the heavy weight of silence.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But we also looked at the solution. We looked at the profound healing that comes from bringing the truth into the light of Christ and redefining honesty as the exact meeting place of grace. So we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something to take with you into your week.
Think about the sheer amount of energy you have spent your entire life using to prop up a broken stage set. Think about the daily, minute-by-minute exertion of holding up those heavy walls, managing the image, scanning the room for danger, and silencing your own pain.
Now ask yourself, what beautiful, authentic things could you build in your life today if all that energy was finally yours to use?
Imagine redirecting all of that vigilance, all of that caretaking energy toward building genuine, honest relationships. Imagine using it to discover your own passions, to deepen your own walk with God, and to cultivate a life of true peace. It is entirely possible. The curtain can stay open. You are allowed to step off the stage.
You absolutely are. And if you are ready to take that step, or if you just want to sit in a room with people who understand the weight of the family secret, we have a warm, direct invitation for you. We invite you to step off the stage and join the genuine community right here at Peters Creek Baptist Church in South Park, Pennsylvania.
You do not have to perform for us.
No performances. You can bring your shattered glass, your weariness, and your authentic self. We have a place for you. We meet every Friday evening, and we would love to see you there.
The schedule for our Friday evenings is designed to help you connect and find healing. At 6:30 p.m., we start with large group worship. Following that, from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., we break into our gender-specific small groups.
Those groups are amazing.
These small groups are the safe spaces where we truly practice stepping off the stage and sharing our reality. Then, from 8:30 to 9 p.m., we gather right here at the Crosstalk Cafe for fellowship and connection. And please note, on the final Friday of each month only, dinner is served from 5:15 to 6 p.m. before worship begins.
If you are ready to take the next step, or if you simply have questions and want to talk to someone, you are deeply encouraged to reach out. We are here to listen. You can email Craig Amstone directly at craig.amstone@gmail.com.
Or, if you prefer, you can contact the church office at info@pcbc.church.
Send an email, make a connection, and let someone know you are ready to stop managing the secret. Thank you so much for sitting with us today. We know this is a heavy reality to look at, but we also know that the light of truth brings an incredible lasting freedom. We will see you at the Crosstalk Cafe.